Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. And day fiance, Brandon insists on inviting his mom to baby shower. Will Julia let her in? 90 Day Fiance stars Julia and Brandon are preparing to celebrate their little one on the way, but things are about to get sour. Well, the latter is adamant about having his mother, Betty, join the baby shower. Yes, you read that right. Apparently, Betty and Julia haven't really been two peas in a pod, and viewers aren't even sure if she would let her mother-in-law enter. But that's not all. Brandon further begged his audience to help him because things are getting out of his hands, and he doesn't know how to handle it at all. Is this true? What is this all about? What did he reveal? Keep on reading to learn more about this controversy because the tea is really hot. 90 Day Fiance star Julia isn't loving the way Betty has been trying to get involved in her and Brandon's lives. She made it clear that it was her house, and Brandon's parents should know their limits. Moreover, the celeb further lost her calm when Betty interfered in her fertility appointments as well. They had a clash, and things got bitter between them. Things don't end here. Brandon is the one who is stuck in this chaos. He isn't able to take a stand and choose between his mother and his wife. Hence, there have been several instances when viewers slammed him for not standing up for Julia. Both of them are clashing every time they meet, and they end up complaining about things to Brandon while the latter isn't able to take anyone's side. Julia is finally expecting, and she recently shared the happy news of her pregnancy with her 90 Day Fiancé viewers. After consulting several doctors and having issues with Brandon, the celeb is going to become a mother soon. And what comes before delivery? Yes, you guessed that right. It's a baby shower! Brandon wasn't able to figure out the dynamics, and finally begged his audience to help him with it. Brandon recently took to Instagram and shared a couple of pictures with playful and eye-catching poses. They appeared to be really happy while Julia flaunted her baby bump. But here's the main thing. Brandon revealed that one of his friends was actually throwing them a baby shower. He noted that he had never been to a baby shower, and Julia also wasn't aware of what it was until now. Brandon asked his fans to help him with an idea, and what kind of food they could have, and what kind of games they could play. He further wondered whether he should attend the baby shower or not. But here comes the main question. The celeb asked, "Can I bring my mom?" While this entire post appeared to be a happy and playful one, this last question raised many eyebrows. Several viewers took to the comment section and told Brandon to invite his mother, as she deserves to be there. They asked him to involve Betty as well during the entire process. What do you think? Do let us know in the comments. Keep coming back to for more updates. The air in Dinwiddie, Virginia, was already heavy with autumn warmth when Brandon and Julia began planning what should have been a moment of pure joy. Their baby shower. After years of relationship ups and downs, farm life, apartment drama, and endless meddling from Brandon's parents, the couple finally had something truly life-changing to celebrate. Yet, as with most of their milestones, it couldn't come without conflict. This time, the storm had a familiar name, Betty. From the moment Julia announced her pregnancy, fans could practically hear Betty's squeals echoing through TLC's editing booth. The woman who once counted pills to make sure Julia didn't forget her birth control was suddenly over the moon about her impending grandchild. Betty, ever the mother-in-law with strong opinions, began sending Julia Pinterest boards full of baby shower themes, registry suggestions, and even a list of suitable venues, most of which were local church halls where Betty already knew the staff by name. Julia, however, had her own vision. She imagined something intimate and modern, free from pastel farm animal centerpieces or Betty's endless suggestions. She wanted her friends, a touch of Russian elegance, and a space that felt like hers, not something controlled by her mother-in-law's iron grip. So when Brandon casually mentioned, "Of course, Mom and Dad will be there," Julia froze. Brandon's tug-of-war Brandon stood at the kitchen counter, nervously peeling an orange. "Julia, she's my mom. She deserves to be at the baby shower. She's excited." Julia, sitting on the couch with her arms crossed, raised an eyebrow. "Excited?" "Brandon, she already told me she wants to be in charge of the cake. She said chocolate is too messy for babies." "What does that even mean?" "It's not the baby eating the cake, it's us." Brandon sighed, knowing the conversation was a minefield. "She just wants to help. You know how she is. If we don't invite her, she'll never forgive us." Julia leaned forward, her eyes flashing. "Brandon, this is not about her. This is my shower for our baby, not another excuse for your mom to control everything." The tension hung between them. Brandon, as always, was caught in the middle. His loyalty split between the woman who raised him and the woman he fought to bring to America. Julia's perspective. Julia's grievances weren't without merit. Over the years, Betty had hovered over every aspect of their lives, from insisting they stay on the family farm to monitoring Julia's work hours. Julia had clawed her way to independence, insisting they move into their own space and create boundaries. To let Betty into something as personal as the baby shower felt like handing back the keys to her freedom. But still, Julia wasn't blind to Brandon's feelings. She knew he wanted his parents to be a part of their child's life. She just worried about how much space Betty would try to take up once the baby arrived. If Betty couldn't let go of control over a baby shower, what would she do once she had a grandchild in her arms? The family meeting, unwilling to let the issue fester, Brandon and Julia invited Betty and Ron over for dinner. Julia had hoped that by laying ground rules early, she could prevent chaos later. Betty, however, came armed with a folder. Yes, a literal folder. She laid it on the table like a general presenting battle plans. Inside were color swatches, caterer brochures, and even a mock-up of invitations. "I thought we could go with a farm-fresh baby theme," Betty chirped, beaming at Julia. "You know, little hay bales, baby animals, gingham tablecloths. It's so wholesome," Julia blinked, her fork halfway to her mouth. "Farm fresh? Betty, we don't even live on the farm anymore." Ron, ever the peacemaker, chuckled awkwardly. "It's just an idea. Don't take it too seriously." But Julia couldn't help herself. "Betty, thank you, but I already have ideas. I want something modern, minimal, no hay." Betty's smile faltered for a second before she recovered. "Well, of course, darling. But you'll need someone experienced to coordinate. And naturally, I assumed I'd host it." That's what mothers do. That was the breaking point. Julia set down her fork with a sharp clink. "No, Betty, this is my shower. You can come if you want, but you are not hosting. You are not planning. You are a guest." The room went silent. Even Ron looked startled. Brandon cleared his throat, his cheeks pink. "Mom, Dad, maybe we just let Julia take the lead this time. She knows what she wants." Betty pressed her lips together, clearly hurt. But instead of arguing, she flipped her folder shut and whispered, "Fine, if that's what you want." The fallout the days after the dinner were tense. Betty texted Brandon daily, alternating between guilt trips and passive-aggressive remarks. "I suppose I'll just wait for pictures since Julia doesn't want me there," she wrote in one message. In another, "It's a shame the first grandchild's shower won't include family traditions." Brandon felt torn. He knew Julia was right, but he also hated seeing his mother so upset. For the first time, he began to realize that fatherhood meant stepping up in a new way, not just as Julia's husband, but as someone who had to set boundaries with his own parents. Julia's secret plan, what Betty didn't know, was that Julia was already planning a compromise, though on her terms. She reached out to a local event planner and organized a chic yet family-friendly baby shower at a botanical garden. There would be soft colors, an elegant cake, and plenty of space for both her friends and Brandon's family. The twist? She made sure Betty had a role, but a limited one. Julia asked Betty to help with the baby shower favors. It was a small job, but one that allowed Betty to feel included without taking over. Brandon, upon hearing the plan, breathed a sigh of relief. "That's perfect, Julia. She'll feel important, but won't be running the whole thing." Julia smirked. "Exactly. I'm learning to play her game." The big day. When the shower finally arrived, all eyes were on Julia as she entered in a flowing dress, her baby bump glowing under the September sun. Brandon walked beside her, proud and relieved that the day hadn't exploded into chaos. Betty was there, of course, holding a basket of the favors she'd painstakingly assembled. To everyone's surprise, she behaved, smiling for photos, complimenting Julia, and refraining from trying to adjust the decorations. For once, there was peace.